getting a good contraction of the bicep muscle. We can really squeeze, tense, contract.
The scene is getting crowded, I'ma ride my own way. I don't need your approval, I'ma go my own way. My daddy told me to be first, you finish last place. The world show me one way, I'ma go my own. Ride my own, ay, 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 ay. Ride my own, ay, 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 ay. Ride my own, ride my own, ay, 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 ay. Ride my own, ay, 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 ay. Ride my own, ay, 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 ay.
What's up guys, Joseph Rackets here from josephracketsfitness.com, and today in this video I'm going to be taking you through my arm workout, biceps and triceps. So tip number one that I want to bring to you is make sure that you have a proper pre-workout meal. So my pre-workout meal, as you can see right there, is 180 grams of steak and 180 grams of white basmati rice. So I've got a good source of protein and I've got a good source of carbohydrates to fuel me through my workouts. Now, it's very important to have your pre-workout meal an hour to maybe an hour and a half before you train. That way it gives you enough time to digest that food and get some of those nutrients into your bloodstream so you can have a good workout. Without a proper pre-workout plan, you're going to be in the gym, you're going to feel tired, lethargic, and you're not going to be able to perform at the highest level. Pay big attention to your pre-workout meal and make sure it's a meal that agrees with you, easy digestible, good source of protein, good source of carbohydrates. I am adding pink Himalayan salt on my pre-workout meal because pre-workout we want a lot of sodium for that sodium pump. You want to stay well hydrated because if your muscles are not well hydrated, they're not going to be able to perform and lift heavy weights. Fueling up right now, I'm going to wait an hour and a half and then off to the gym, and I'll see you guys there. Alright guys, tip number two, basically don't be a bitch. What I mean by that is you need to train hard and heavy and intense with the weights. You need to make sure that you are actually putting your muscles under stress and actually creating that stimulus for the muscles to grow. So you can't just go in the gym and you can't just do a few curls and a few press downs and call it a day and go home. You actually have to train with intensity. You actually have to put that muscle in a position that it doesn't like. You have to rip those muscle fibers, and then and only then will your body respond to that by recovering and growing bigger and stronger for next time so it can handle that, and not just going in the gym and giving it a half-ass effort. Super important and super crucial. Alright guys, just arrived at the gym right now. Just going to wait for my wife to arrive because she's my cameraman for today, or camera woman I should say. But that brings me to tip number three. Tip number three is train arms twice per week. Reason I'm saying that is because arms respond good to high frequency. So for muscle groups like legs, back, chest, etc., I usually prefer training them once per week and just smashing it with high volume. Arms on the other hand, because they are a smaller muscle group that can recover a lot quicker, I train them twice per week. And I find I've made the best progress in my arms when I am training my arms more frequently. So yeah, tip number three, train arms twice per week. Frequency is a good thing when it comes to arms. Going back to the car, don't need my sunglasses, I'll just end up losing them in the gym or getting them broken. Let's just hope I don't sit on them. Alright guys, tip number four, and that is use a rep range between 6 and 12. The reason I'm saying use a rep range between 6 and 12 is because we can go a little bit heavier than normal and we can overload the muscle with more weight. Weight is one form of progressive overload, so it's a great way to break the muscle down and get some new growth. Tip number five, for your second arm day, use a completely different rep range. This time we're going 12 to 25 reps, and we're focusing more on stress and time and tension, and really trying to hit the muscle from a different way instead of overloading with weight. So let's just pretend this is a bicep day. There you go guys, two different strategies, weight overload and stress overload. Alright guys, tip number six is do about 3 to 4 exercises for biceps and triceps. We are onto the preacher curl machine. We're using a close grip, so this one in here. What that's going to do, it's going to put slightly more stress on the bicep long head, which is the outside part of the bicep, so developing the bicep peak. But yeah, 3 to 4 exercises per biceps, 3 to 4 exercises per triceps, and that is tip number 6. Alright, so I've got my mate Dom on the preacher curl right now. It's always good to train with a mate as well, you know, you can get them to spot you, get a few force reps out.
Let's compete against each other. He does 10, I do 11, he does 12.
That's what it is, you need that feedback. Okay guys, that brings me to tip number 7, and that is to do 3 to 5 sets per exercise. So this is our third and final set on the preacher curl, and usually 3 to 5 sets gives you enough volume per that exercise to really get some great progress from it. Alright guys, we are now on to spider curls. I've completely lost what tip number we're up to, so I'm not even going to mention the tip number name anymore, but it'll be on the screen. But for this tip that I want to share is you want to train with a training partner. Reason being is so that you can spot them. When you spot them, you basically help them get out some forced reps. Doing some forced reps just puts the muscle under more stress, more tension, which allows you to gain more muscle. And that brings me to my next tip. That tip is do an exercise that allows you to focus on a good contraction and an exercise that allows you to focus on a good stretch. So first we did the spider curls, which was this one here. Getting a good contraction of the bicep muscle. You can really squeeze, tense, contract. We were then doing incline curls. Now this exercise is great because the dumbbell pulls your arm back, allows you to get a big stretch through the bicep muscle. The bigger the stretch allows for more blood into the muscle. So contraction first and then big stretch. Alright, we've got a bonus tip from Dom.
Yeah, so when it comes to doing the superset, the reason why it's really good, peak contractions are really good just for depleting the ATP, just fatiguing the muscle as much as you can. Then as soon as you go into the stretch, if you imagine you get little micro tears in the muscle, when you go to the stretch, you're actually creating a deeper deposit, so then when it heals, you get a more hypertrophic response. It's going to make the muscle grow bigger and faster.
So there you go guys, but man himself. If you want bigger muscles, bigger biceps, listen to this guy. Next tip guys is focus on good form. So we're working the biceps, we want to work the bicep muscle only, so we only want this muscle here to be moving that weight. So as you can see guys, muscle mind connection is there, and it's just his bicep muscle lifting that weight up and down. All that stress is going into the biceps. And form is one of the most important things guys when it comes to making progress. A lot of people just keep adding more and more and more weight, but what ends up happening is when you've got more weight, secondary muscles take over. So when the weight's too heavy, you know, their shoulders start coming forward and lifting part of that weight. So always focus on good form so you are maximizing the stress that you are applying to that muscle. Who's that guy? Alright, next tip guys, include supersets and drop sets in your routine. So right now we're doing a superset, we're doing dumbbell hammer curls, and we can't do any more. We're doing a superset with a different exercise, but also a lighter weight. So this is almost like a superset and a drop set. So a superset is a great way guys to really add more stress and more tension on the muscle. The more stress and tension we can add, the more damage we're going to do. The more damage we can do, the more gains we can make.
Right, so because our primary focus today is on arms, we're doing this one to target more the long head. So we're going to complete failure doing this exercise. Almost there.
And then we're going to superset with these plates down there.
And then straight after that, so right now, here's fatigue. Now we're going to bring in the assisting muscle, brachioradialis. So bring that in, which is the primary flexor muscle. So you're going to flex up, and you want to come up and squeeze. Now we're going to fatigue that muscle too.
Next tip, control the negatives. So negatives can be on the bicep.
Don't be a little wuss, go hard.
So for that tip basically guys, you want to focus on the negative. Now you can do a negative rep, any muscle group really, biceps, triceps. So obviously the bicep negative rep will be slowing on the way down. Tricep, when we're doing tricep push downs, such as this, you would be controlling it on the way up. Basically just controlling that negative motion, because what you have to understand, there's a lot of muscle fibers ripped during the negative phase of the movement. So yeah, focus on the negative. It's going to help you so much in gaining the extra bit of muscle. Right, next tip, we are on to close grip bench press. The tip here is there are many different variations of ways that you can do this. So I'm going to do my way, which is more about pressing close grip, and then Dom is going to do his way, which is an extension type of close grip. So yeah, I'm up first. Then, obviously guys, doing close grip bench, so we want to have a close grip, and keep our elbows close to our sides. So the bar's always hitting just below my pecs, where Dom, his technique is slightly different. Alright, so this is Dom's technique. It's more of an extension, and the bar is almost coming to his neck, in a sense, if it was going to go all the way down.
Yeah, when you do it, you want to think about pressing straight up, and imagine you're driving your inner elbow, as if you're driving that up towards your head.
For this exercise is you want to focus on getting a good stretch through the tricep and long head, because the tricep long head is where the mass of the tricep comes from. So more activation and more stress on the tricep long head is going to create for more mass of the triceps. Triceps being 2/3 of your arm, it's going to help give you a bigger arm appearance.
Alright, what are we showing here, boys? We got Joseph's quads and Adrian.
Alright, so home now guys from the gym. Brings me to my next tip. I was supposed to film this at the gym, but I got a little bit carried away just talking to some people. But that tip was make sure that you stretch post-workout. Static stretching, and basically what that is just stretching the muscle and holding that position. The reason I say to do this is because you're stretching the muscle, which is allowing for more blood flow into the muscle, and you're also stretching the fascia. This allows for more room for that muscle to actually grow bigger in size. Someone with tight fascia, it will actually restrict you on making maximum muscle growth. So static stretch post-workout. You never want to do static stretching pre-workout because it will decrease performance and it can actually lead to an injury. So if you do want to do any type of stretching pre-workout, I advise dynamic stretching, which is basically stretching without holding that stretch, and static stretching post-workout where you hold that stretch. Alright, just demolished my post-workout meal guys, which brings me to my next tip. And that tip is make sure that you are consuming enough protein in order to gain muscle. Now my protein recommendations are to consume at least 1 gram of protein per pound of your lean body weight. So your lean body weight is basically your total body weight minus your estimated body fat percentage. Now let's just say your estimated lean body weight is 180 pounds. My advice would be to consume 180 grams of protein per day as a minimum requirement. It can be more. I consume a lot more. Not that any more is really going to help you gain any more muscle, because the excess protein is just going to be converted into carbohydrates anyway. But aim for a minimum of 180 grams of protein per day if your lean body weight was 180 pounds. And the last and final tip for this video guys is make sure that you get enough sleep, enough rest and recovery. Sleep is so important and it's so crucial for maximizing your muscle gains. Now if you're not growing, you're struggling to growing, but your training's on point, your diet's on point, it could be you're not getting enough sleep. Sleep is when you do most of your growth, so make sure you get enough sleep. I advise 6 to 8 hours per night as a minimum requirement. 8 is going to be superior. Now I know it's hard sometimes, but just try and really pay attention to get as much sleep, rest and recovery as you can. I personally use an app. I'll leave it on the screen so you guys can download that as well and try it out for yourself. It's called Sleep Cycle. Just as great to give me some feedback as well, so maybe you guys want to check that out. Anyway, that is the end of the video. Hope you enjoyed it, hope you learned a few things. Make sure if you need help with a meal plan or a workout program or whatever it is, gaining muscle, losing body fat, I am the guy that can help you get the results that you want. Obviously, I've had many amazing client transformations, as you would have seen on my Instagram page. So if you want results like that, click the link down below in the description box. And I'll see you guys in the next video.
Bye.